if you don't have GRE or GMAT on your profile, like I think it's better to apply as early as you can. Crucial points of going abroad and doing your master's is that you have to network. Each university also, like even though it's the same course, they will have a different structure. I remember like I was really happy when I got Lancaster, but for me, Warwick was like always one of my top choices. The employment rate is low at this point, but it doesn't mean that it's impossible. And you have to start applying for jobs like, as soon as you start
Right.
your university. Even though I got a scholarship in Lancaster, as I said, like these small details matter a lot, like how the culture of the university, how they go about giving you opportunities and the placements. So my biggest challenge was that I was someone who was not going for GMAT or GRE. I did not have that on my profile, so everything else had to be completely perfect.
Welcome to the podcast, guys. Right, and we have Vanshika Kanua with us, who is going to Warwick for her master's degree this fall. Right, and we have Vijay sir with us, who has been Vanshika's counselor throughout the past year. Right, so the agenda of the podcast is to look at what Vanshika's journey was, and she will definitely enlighten us with the challenges that she faced and how it went about the entire process, right? So let's start with you, Vanshika. Can you just give a brief about your background? What did you do in your bachelor's, right? What kind of internships have you done, and how did this entire plan of going abroad come about?
So I was in Jai Hind University, Mumbai University. So firstly, I was really like I did not have any plans of what to do after my college, but
Mhm.
firstly I did my BMM from Jai Hind University, Bachelor's in Mass Media. So I did not have any plan in my mind, and I was just like, okay, I was discussing it with my friends, what to do with my parents, what everyone's plans is, and no one had any plan yet. Like I was the first person who started talking about it among my friends. They were all like, okay, we'll see what to do. We don't know yet. But I think from the start only, I had a very clear mind after a while, after all my
Mhm.
research, that I do want to go ahead with my postgrad first.
Right.
So that's how it all started.
Fair enough. Take care. And Vijay, question to you: like when you first saw Vanshika's profile, right? She had good grades, right? And but the only problem I think was she was just a fresher. She had just graduated, right? But she was looking at top universities. So, what was your first impression of her profile, and what were the challenges that you identified that you would face?
Okay. The good thing about her profile was that she knew what the business industry was and what management is. That's also the bad thing about it because as she was already aware of things, what I had to basically finalize. Okay, let's narrow it down because I remember the first conversation we had, she wanted to get into management, and I was asking her, why do you want to do the same thing that you've already studied?
Two. Hmm.
Why not look into specialization or something? So that was we had to drive the conversation in that manner. Another good thing was that she was open for throughout the globe. She didn't have any barriers apart from
Hmm.
the US only. So
Okay.
it was more in terms of understanding where she can get a job, where she can settle down easily without a lot of loan or taking baggage on her.
So great. So that was the first impression of the profile, right? Now, one thing as Vijay also said, the shortlisting the right course and the right country was a major task, right? So what was your first idea how to shortlist a good course for you? You have already done a BMM, right? From Jai Hind, which is a very reputed college also. So how did you narrow down the course options for you?
The process was very seamless that way. I feel like with the whole system of, like we shared an Excel sheet and all that. So that really helped me throughout. Like, like, of course, like we had a lot of meetings about it, and it was like thanks to Vijay that he gave me a lot of options, and then I researched about them, and then we would talk about it more, and then I would research about them again. So it was a process, but it was a very seamless process, I would say.
Okay.
So that's how, like, he has the knowledge, he gave me the options, and then I researched about them. So I
Hmm.
think it's like a very coordinated thing there.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
that's how we did it.
Okay, okay. And Vijay, what kind of options did you bring to the table? Like you heard Vanshika, you got to know her a little bit because our process is made in such a way that we first get to know the student and then only we can advise things, right? So, what kind of options did you put in front of her?
So if I remember correctly, we had NUS, we had NTU, we were looking into HEC,
Hmm.
we were also looking into New York for a while,
Hmm.
and we were also looking into top institutes. We were also Switzerland. We were looking into, obviously UK was there, so
Hmm.
we looked into everywhere, and then we realized okay, UK would be a better option for her
Hmm.
because Singapore was the post study visa is difficult to the work visa is very difficult to get. Okay,
Hmm.
and she wanted to settle down.
Hmm.
We looked into various different kinds of university. She also had a thing that she wanted to look into a school which would be easy to go and get into, where it won't be a lot of pressure, where she can fit in easily. So we
Hmm.
looked into that. There were a lot
Okay.
of discussions around that with
Hmm.
me, Vanshika, her mom,
Hmm.
and we understood exactly what she wanted to get into. And then we
Hmm.
finalized okay, a five set of university where we would be targeting a top universities also, and we would look into basically some safe options also. Luckily enough, she got into Warwick.
Hmm.
Okay, she had a good profile. She was able to get into it, and she wanted to get into Warwick, which was
Hmm.
the biggest thing. So I think that was one of your main choices also.
So, did we apply to the same course in five universities, or did we choose a different range of courses in these five universities?
They were majorly very similar, and like most of the universities had the same course, the ones I chose. They were marketing and strategy. And then in Warwick, I got in business with marketing because by the end of it, I thought that that's the better option for Warwick because the business school is, the business aspect in that university is
Hmm.
really huge and it's very reputed.
Hmm.
So I felt that in that university, particularly business and marketing was a better option. And
Hmm.
the other universities was more into marketing and strategy. But it's the same ballpark almost. So yeah.
Okay, so this way of going forward to look at things, I would say, because every university has 3 to 4 courses in marketing in UK, right? Because in UK, marketing is a very open domain, so there are 3 to 4 universities. So VJ, you and Vanshika both, right? How did we, choose the right course in every university? Because what we see is people, the same UK university will have an MIM, it will have an MSc marketing, it will have an marketing and operations or marketing strategy also. So how did you choose the one course out of the entire 4 courses inside one university? How did you guys go about that?
Okay. One of the major things that I wanted Vanchika to focus on was strategy, because I wanted her to do not to look into a course which would be very math focused. I think she also didn't want to get into quant focused course. She wanted something which would be involve more strategy and
Hmm.
theoretical. So we looked into business management and marketing.
Hmm.
Okay,
Hmm.
and we also were looking into strategic marketing in a different university.
Hmm.
Okay, so those were that was the way forward, that we
Hmm.
want to look into schools which would be focusing more on strategy rather than the executive technicality of SEO and analytics and all that.
Got it. Okay. And Vanshika, you might have an idea कि marketing में जाना है, like micro marketing is my domain, right? But did you ever think this there was so much depth into the universities and each course will have to do so much research, and when you actually did it, how did it feel to come up with the right universities and right courses?
So initially, I did not think that, like for each university, I would have to do so much research, like because each university also, like even though it's the same course, they will have a different structure. So for each university, so if I'm applying to 5 universities, I have to look
Hmm.
at each and every course that I'm applying to there. So I did not expect that I'd have to do that, but I did know that a lot of research in terms of courses would be involved because that's actually one of the most major things that you have to do when you start your process.
Right.
So
Okay.
yeah, like I initially it was a bit like okay, like a lot of research, but then I got used to it after a point.
Right. So how did the process help you? Because we share enormous amount of details on those workstations, right? Worksheets and Excels. Every university has 10 filters or so. So was it a little overwhelming for you, or with the kind of process? Because in the first day itself, we tell you it's a very structured process. Did it become a little overwhelming, or in the bigger scenario, it actually simplified things for you?
I actually think that depends a lot on, the person that you're talking to about it. So for me, that's Vijay. And even though whenever I used to be overwhelmed, like I used to tell him, okay, like I'm freaking out about this or that. And like he would like calm me down. He's like, okay, like chill, like I will guide you. And I'll tell you step by step. Or if it's like too much like information, like he would just send me like the link. Like he'd be like, okay, like just look at this, so I
Hmm.
won't have to like go through each and every like filter process of it. So he really eased down the process for me, so I don't think that part was overwhelming.
Okay, so I think that's the beauty of the human approach, because at the end of the day, we can provide you data, but we need a personal counselor, right? So kudos to
Yeah,
you,
yeah,
Vijay. Right,
definitely.
you made it very easy for her. One question here, Vanshika, we also got into Lancaster, right, for an advanced marketing management course, that too with a 9,000 GBP scholarship, right?
Yeah.
So that was also a very good achievement. Lancaster is not an easy university to get into, and that too in advanced marketing management. But what factors did you guys discuss on? How did you come into the conclusion that Warwick, where we eventually didn't get much scholarship, right, should be chosen over Lancaster, which had an advanced marketing management course?
Okay. I remember like I was really happy when I got Lancaster, but for me, Warwick was like always one of my top choices because I mean, obviously I looked at the ranking of the universities, and even though rankings they keep changing, but still like, I kept that also a bit in mind. I kept the opportunities in mind. I saw a lot of alumni who got out of Warwick, and the kind of opportunities they got after Warwick. So I was more inclined towards that as well. Plus, I feel like business with marketing, like I wanted a bit of business aspect also in my course because that would help me in the future. So when I really thought about it in detail, I was like, even though I got scholarship there, but
Hmm.
I would rather, financially commit to this university if that'll give me more
Options.
opportunities later. Yeah.
Hmm.
So later on, if I get more opportunities, like, I'll get that back. Like I'll get my finances back, hopefully.
Right. Okay, so
Yeah.
that's a brilliant point you said that, because you're anyway going to invest 20-25 lakhs into your university anyway, right? Saving
Yeah.
around 7 to 8 lakhs more just for a lower ranked university is not worth it according to you. It's
Yeah,
more worth it to go
definitely.
into a more reputed university. That's a brilliant take, I would say, because that's the same vision we share. We want to get into the best brands, because during unstable times like COVID, or all these layoffs, firing a Warwick person is very difficult rather than firing a low rank university person. So I think you made the smart choice there, right? So it's not just about money, it's about ROI, return of investment majorly. Okay.
Yes.
See, okay. Apart from this, Vanshika, one other thing here, right? So what is the ultimate plan here? Because you were looking at settling down also, right? So now in UK, when you're going for a top ranked university, how do you think things will pan out? What is the next plan?
So, of course, like when I attended a lot of Warwick, like meetups and everything, and we've discussed about it. Like the university has also told us that, of course, it's very difficult to get like the employment rate is low at this point, but it doesn't mean that it's impossible.
Hmm.
So, and you have to start applying for jobs like as soon as you start
Land.
your university. So, I will apply for jobs, and
Hmm.
by the time it's time for me to start, like I hope I get a job, and if I do get a good job after Warwick, I would definitely settle down.
Okay.
But I would not settle for a job that is that I'm not very interested in. So it's not like that I'm just thinking about, okay, like I want to settle in UK, I want a good job and I want to settle in UK. So
Okay.
I have both the things in my mind. So if
So you don't
I
want to
get that,
compromise.
yeah, yeah, like I'm very like neutral about it. I'm like no pressure there. Have to get a good job first, and then let's see what happens.
Here, Vijay, one question to you. So, the decision of Vanshika to go to a better ranked university or to a better reputed university like Warwick, right? How do you think it will benefit her in this job market? Because yes, the job market is bad, but it will eventually recover, right? Things will go better because economics works like that. So how do you think this is a good decision or strategic decision to go to Warwick?
It's both a strategic and good decision, as mentioned by Vanshika. Okay. One of the major things why I preferred Warwick was, first of all, I liked the region. Okay. And I knew that she would perfectly fit in over there in comparison, though she would fit in Lancaster and she might have fitted in London also, but I felt Warwick would have been the best space for her. Okay, because being a tourism town, it would make a huge difference.
Okay.
Secondly, they have an incubator cell. Okay,
Oh.
and I see that Vanchika has a streak of entrepreneurship, and as she's saying marketing along with business, she would have exposure to working with people who are from entrepreneurial background or startup background, and it would be easier for her to basically gel up over there.
Hmm. Okay.
So that was another reason for me to basically push for it.
Okay, got it. So this incubator cell thing, Vanchika, was it a game changer for you as well? Because these are tiny details, right? That senior counselors like VJ can provide you with, because VJ has lived in UK, right? He has actually seen every area as well. So did was this a game changer? This small point of an incubator cell or so?
Yeah, definitely. Like I feel like it doesn't matter. Like even though I got a scholarship in Lancaster, as I said, like these small details matter a lot. Like how the culture of the university, how they go about giving you opportunities and the placements, everything they matter a lot. And as I said, like you should see your alumni as well because I talked to a lot of them and they also like I got the confidence from them as well because some of them from were COVID batch. So they said
Mhm.
that even though we're in the COVID batch, we still we had to come back, but we still got good opportunities because we are from Warwick.
Mhm.
And another point is that yeah, like Vijay being like that he was in UK, that made a lot of difference because he could give me like that kind of insight that no one else could.
Right.
So that also helped me
True.
a lot. So I was really glad that he, knew all that.
Okay, it's okay. Next thing, Vanchika, we'll go a little back, right? So when you started all of this journey, as you said, you were one of the first people around in your circle to go abroad or so. So what do you think are the first challenges that any student from Mumbai, because we have a lot of students from Mumbai also and Mumbai University as well, who want to go abroad, but we have seen them actually being misguided sometimes, or they just go to low ranked universities. So what do you think are the first challenges that anybody faces in India when they think about studying abroad?
I feel like definitely it's the lack of information they have on how to go about the process. And for me, I was really lucky because I got to know through people about Ace My Prep, right? And whoever have asked me afterwards that, okay, who are you talking to? Who's your counselor? So I was like, yeah, like, go for them because they will guide you right. I talked to a few counselors before who did not seem right, and I did not hear the best reviews about them.
Hmm.
And a lot of my friends complain that whatever you do, it really matters who your counselor is. If
Hmm.
if you're going about this process, you need to have the right counselor because
Hmm.
a lot of counselors would just be there for the money or something like
Hmm.
that. Like they would have
Yeah.
some ulterior motive to it. So
Hmm.
not to say anything bad about the other counselors, but yeah, like it's the truth.
Hmm.
So I was just really glad that there was nothing like this here. It was genuinely all about that you guys wanted me to get into the best university and you guys guided me the best. Like you both were there the entire time whenever I needed you. So I feel like that whatever challenges I faced, it was eased down because of that reason only, nothing else. Because none of my other friends knew what they were doing as well, so they couldn't help me. The only
Hmm.
people who could help me were you guys.
Correct. Okay. Okay, thanks for the compliment though. Now coming to one another major point, right? So, what is the biggest challenge that you think, right? So, in this entire process, apart from the counseling and all, like there's applications, there's shortlisting, right? Then there's profile enhancement, what to do upgrading your profile. What do you think is the biggest challenge that you faced as a student?
So my biggest challenge was that I was someone who was not going for GMAT or GRE. So
Right.
I did not have that on my profile. So everything else had to be completely perfect. Like I had to, just build my profile a lot more than people who would give GMAT or GRE. I had to have a good IELTS score. And the biggest challenge for me, I'd say, was building up my profile in terms of applications.
Okay.
So yeah, like that was the biggest
Yes.
challenge. Yeah.
I think that's a very good point, Vanshika. And your question comes to you, Vijay, right? So Vanshika had a good profile, like she had a good GPA, she had good intent, wanted to go to university, but GMAT was missing, right? Although there are many universities giving GMAT waivers, it is still difficult to get into top universities. So what exactly was the profile enhancement plan that got her into Warwick and Lancaster with a scholarship as well? So many people, many students think, right, कि GMAT is important for scholarships, but you guys kind of cracked a $9,000 GBP scholarship without the GMAT. So what was the strategy? What did you help her with in your profile enhancement?
So first thing was the IELTS. Okay, that was one of the first things to focus on. At the same time, we also worked on getting her to understand the basics of marketing. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so we worked on. She took up a few courses from Coursera where she looked into marketing and all. I don't think we did any research paper we did at the time, but the courses that she did were very important. Then we also looked into what kind of message would she be portraying in both her CV and her LOR.
Okay. Mm.
Has to be consistent. It has to be in line. So we worked on the CV also,
Okay.
and I don't think I worked on your LinkedIn profile. I just guided you or something over
Yeah.
there, but it was more in terms of putting across because CV is going to play a huge part.
Right.
Most of the time they would see your CV first and then the LORs, then the SOP. So basically, we focus first on the CV focus that she has the background knowledge in marketing and all,
Okay.
and that was replicated in her SOP.
Okay. Got it. So it was about the same concept in her resume, her LOR, and the SOP, like the consistency throughout her applications.
See, I'm highlighting the major points.
Highlighting the major points, right? And Vanshika, what about you? Like when you came to us, you were just a fresher, right? But when you applied, you had almost completed your course, right? And now you have done these profile enhancement. So you as a student itself, did you feel a lot of enhancement in your profile? Did you feel like yes, your profile has grown and you got a little more confidence applying into Warwick kind of universities?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like when you get the acceptance email, it's like the biggest achievement. Like it's a very good boost to your confidence. And I mean, like through like it's been a year since the whole process started. Like I talked to you guys back in August, and that time I remember that you were like, okay, like we need to do everything a bit fast because I was aiming for an early application so that my chances are more. So if
Hmm.
I'm someone who has not given GMAT or GRE, my focus was applying as early as I can. So that was also one major thing. And throughout the
Hmm.
process, I feel like I've gotten so much knowledge. And when I read the SOPs and the full LOR process, like when I
Hmm.
talk to my professors about it, or my, the people who I did internships with, they also guided me through it, like the LORs.
Hmm.
So I feel like that whole process, like they were very nitty-gritty things, but the whole process really uh, like it gave me a lot of knowledge.
Right.
So now if someone asks me, like I can tell them, okay, you can do this, you can do that. So now I also have that knowledge.
Now you have Warwick behind you. You can advise anyone, right?
Yeah.
So that's great. That's great. And one other thing, you said a good point here. I think you got your offers back in February, right?
Yeah.
Your Warwick and Lancaster. You
Correct.
got in January and February. You had already December and February, in fact, right? So I think this
Yeah.
was the byproduct of applying early. So how important was that according to you? Because we must have applied very early to get our offers in December and February, right? So as you didn't have a GMAT, how important do you think the timeline of the application was?
It was very important because firstly I was as I had a very clear idea that okay, now I've decided to go abroad. So I was like, let's just get done with it as soon as possible because then once like as you delay, like I feel like it just gets more challenging for
Right.
you and as well as everyone. So if you don't have GRE or GMAT on your profile, like I think it's better to apply as early as you can. Like that would give you a lot more chances to get into your dream university.
Right. Perfect. I think that's a very good point. And Vijay, you too, I guess, because as soon as Vanshika got on board, I think we had a chat regarding applying as soon as possible, right? So she already, I think her documents were in place, but what were your challenges like to get the SOP right, to get the LORs, letter of recommendation? Because there are multiple third-party dependencies for a career strategist to, sort out. So how did you facilitate, or what was your strategy to fill out the entire applications within the first 2 or 3 months as soon as you were sent?
Okay. I think she remember. I remember she mentioned she had some functions at home early, around in November, December. So she mentioned that she won't be available. So for certain time frame. So that was a. I had to keep that in mind that she
Mhm.
would not be available then. So I had to plan accordingly before that.
Right.
And something that happened that she is still not aware.
Hmm.
She is not getting any emails on the email ID that she has provided.
Oh, okay.
So whatever information that was sent over to her wouldn't go through AMP. I have to basically WhatsApp it to her or send reroute it to her mom. For some reason that
Right.
wasn't working, so we had to basically we actually knew that I wouldn't have a lot of time and there's an extra work over there, so we had to
Hmm.
work around those things. So that was the motivation for me to basically okay, let's get things sorted out first. Let's get the basics in place first, so that
Hmm.
she wouldn't have to worry about it around in December, January period when during the
Hmm.
peak of the second rounds.
Okay. Great. Great. And Vanchika, did your process involve interviews also from universities?
Only so I only had one interview and it was like a video essay type of interview, which was for Imperial. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, only that was required. Other than that, none of the other universities required an interview.
Perfect. Take care. And can you just a little bit about post the offer letters, right? You got your offer letters back in February, right? So then the challenges are loan, visa, accommodation, such kind of things, which I think where we were stuck for a little bit of time as well, right? So what was your experience like there, and how did the system of entire AMP also help you out there?
So, firstly, I was waiting for my college results. Like, I had gotten my conditional offer, but to make it unconditional, I had to wait for my college result as well. So, firstly, that wait was there. And, once I got all of, like, I had to sort everything out along with Vijay, my loan, my accommodation, everything, which was a very long process. But I feel like everyone goes through it. Like, all like everyone I know from Warwick has gone through the same thing. Anyone who has applied abroad has gone through the same thing. That the whole visa process is a bit tedious, but
Hmm.
once you get through it, like like it's the best. Like then it's chill. Like you don't have to worry about anything. Then you're
Hmm.
sorted. But
Hmm.
yeah, so waiting for the transcript, then waiting for my certificate, then sorting out my accommodation, all of that, like yeah, like the post application, like the post conditional offer process was also there, which I was not very aware of. And with time I got to know, okay, like there are a lot of things you have to sort out after you get your application as well.
Hmm.
So like that was one thing I was genuinely not aware of, like I had no idea.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Take it. And at the end of the day, we have got a visa and we have all set, right? So now, are you in connect with other Warwick students as well?
Yeah, like I definitely am. Like they've held up a lot of meetings in Delhi and Bombay,
Hmm.
and official meetings they've done. So I met a lot of people through that, and it was a great way of networking and connecting with people there. So
Yeah,
I
I was coming to that only because The reason why universities also do is to increase the networking spirit, right? And how important do you feel? Because the course is one part. You're not going there just to study in classes. You're actually going there to network. So how important is the networking aspect of this entire masters that you're going about it internationally?
It's it's definitely, I think, one of the most
Crucial
like
elements.
crucial points of going abroad and doing a master's is that you have to network, because at the end of the day, you will get through your course hopefully nicely. I hope so. But I need to make a lot of good connections and network throughout the process, and that's something that everyone has made me aware about. So that's what I'm mentally ready for as well.
Okay. And Vijay, your advice to anyone who is going abroad, specifically UK, you have been in UK for around a decade or so, right? So how important do you think the networking aspect works, and why is it so important? What are the hidden, I would say, advantages that people don't know about just talking and networking with good amount of people?
Well, first of all, one of the most important thing in any country where you have a very different culture is that it's difficult, as it is difficult for you to trust them. It is difficult for them also to trust you. It's
True.
always a two-way story. Okay?
Hmm.
So the more you understand the culture, the language,
Hmm.
the nitty-gritty, the regional things about it, the likes and dislikes, okay, it helps you a lot. You basically break the ice.
Hmm.
Not only basically when you're networking with the lecturers and all, but also when you're going for a job. And I have noticed this among my class peers earlier, basically that they didn't knew anything about what kind of job they are going for. They didn't knew what should they be out or what should be mentioned in the CV.
Right.
So they have to come back. So I noticed a lot among students over there. Unless they have a good connect, they will have to come.
True. Okay. Now, Vanshika, finally, now you're going to Warwick, one of the most prestigious universities in UK and around the world, right? So, reflecting back, and I think there's an exciting journey ahead of you. But reflecting back, when you started back in August, right now, how do you feel right now? Where did you start? Where did you end? And entirely, I think you're already touching before my question ends. So, wait, let the question end. So how do you feel? And do you think like more students in India can actually follow the path that you took? Because many students are just afraid to apply also to top universities. So what will be your advice to them? How do you feel, and what is your advice?
So firstly, I feel like the time has literally flown by. I'm leaving in a week and I still can't believe it. I'm in shock. And I mean, I know what Vijay must be thinking. He's like, "Vanshika, it's okay, it's fine, don't worry, everything is fine." You're scared for no reason. But no, I'm definitely scared. But I was not scared to apply to the universities, that's for sure. Like, I thought that, like if I am applying at the end of the day, I don't want to apply to any university.
Hmm.
So, if you've taken the decision to go abroad and study, I think one thing that everyone said to me, including Vijay and my parents, was that if you're investing so much time, you're going abroad, you're investing money as
Right.
well, you it needs to be worth it. So just the application process, like I was like, if I get through this and I get to a good university that I've always, was hoping
Hmm.
for, then well and good. Like I would definitely go for it. So I was not afraid to apply to a top university, knowing that I don't have a GMAT or a GRE, and people
Hmm.
around me who apply usually do have that. So
Hmm.
like that is something that I was not afraid of. So I don't think anyone should be out there. And other than that,
Okay.
my whole process has just flown by. So
Hmm.
yeah, I am.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm ready, but let's see.
Okay. See,
So you're on
Vijay,
the
Vijay, what about you? Like you have handled like thousands of students, right? So what was Vanshika's main, I would say, advantage or the unique aspect of her profile and her personality that has led to her success?
I would say there are three things that worked in her favor. First, she applied early.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so she had that option, that flexibility to basically to work around unseen situations.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, was that she is from business background, so she understands that there are a lot more things than just strategy, finance.
Mm,
Management is not just about MBA and MIM anymore.
mm.
Thirdly, it was that she is a very good listener.
Okay.
She is able to understand when you explain to her. She is able to understand what you're telling,
Okay.
and that works in her favor.
Okay. Okay. So that's great 3 points coming from Vijay to you, Vanshika. Right.
Thank you.
And all in all, like how was the AMP process for you, right? So how did AMP, this entire process very excruciating. Vijay has been through it. I have been through it, right? So we know it's a very tenacious process. It takes a lot out of you. But how were we be able to help you? How would you rate us? And were we able to shed the load off from your shoulders a little bit?
I wouldn't want to rate only because firstly, I feel like Vijay is like my friend. Like he has throughout the process acted like, oh, you're fine, you're chill, it's okay. Like he was the most like how do I explain? Like he was very supportive. He used to scold me also when I used to not do anything right. He used to be like, no, you have to do this right. And that kind of push is what I needed at that time when I used to procrastinate or laze around. And he pushed me also at that point. And like I feel like I genuinely made the best decision to go through the process with AMP because I've seen with my friends and they usually are just like, oh, my counselor is like this, all that, and I can't say one thing about one bad thing about my counselor. He's actually been like my friend throughout the process. So thank you.
See, yeah. Okay.
So
I think
very well.
she get up and dance now. But okay, last thing is, now you know your friends, they have also taken counselors, right? And you must know various other people. One thing that we combat on a very daily basis is that paid and unpaid counselors. We do charge as a consultancy because we don't have any partnerships with universities. We want to get you into the best university, but it takes time, it takes effort. It's a year-round effort, and we have a service charge. Apart from that, there are people, many agencies, I would say, that don't charge. So what is your take now after going through all the process? Because before investing with us also 50, 80,000, you must have also thought, yeah, it's a little too much, right? But now at the end of the process, when you've got a top university, how do you rate your decision to get through us rather than choosing a free counselor or a low cost counselor, I would say?
I mean, I would say just one point that to anyone out there that if you're investing so much, like you've thought about going to abroad, so you are at the end of the day investing a lot in your process and what you will pay the university after that as well. So
Right.
like you shouldn't be afraid to pay if you can pay for that, you can definitely pay for the process as well because that's something that is very crucial for the whole like
Hmm.
that will decide your future, right? Like if you're working with someone who won't help you out, who's not there for you, then there's no point.
Hmm.
So if you've decided to study abroad, you need to invest that kind of money into as well. So
Right.
I was pretty much convinced that okay, if I've taken this step, if I've taken this decision, then I need to invest as well into it. And I feel like that was a very good decision because I know people who maybe charge more, but they are also not maybe not working as well as AMP, or maybe people who don't charge and they are also not doing the same thing. So I feel like my decision, my investment was totally right. So I'm happy.
Right. Got it. ठीक है. I think that's a fair logic also, right? If you're investing 30, 40 lakhs into the university, why not, take a good assistance, right? To ensure that the 40 lakhs is going into one good place, right?
Exactly.
Take
Exactly.
30, 35 into Warwick is a good investment. And if you have to pay 50,000 extra for it, I think it's worth it, right? So I think that's a very good take. And finally, Vanshika, any last words from your side to our students who might look up at to you, because there are many students in the pipeline right now also who don't have a GMAT, who just a good GPA, don't have any experience. Any words of advice from them?
I would just say that, initially I was very scared of the whole process, and in between there were times that I was, like, oh, it's longer than I expected. But honestly, at the end of the day, now when I look back to it, it doesn't seem like that long. Like I feel like it was a very seamless process at the end of the day, and whatever, like at any point, if you feel like that, okay, maybe not, just sit with your counselor, talk about it, because that's what I did. Like I have sat down with Vijay, I've talked to him about a lot of aspects. Don't be afraid to talk about things firstly. Like talk every nitty-gritty detail with them. So, and they are there for you. Like they also are there to inform you about everything. So just don't be
Hmm.
afraid to ask, I would say. So yeah,
Okay.
and thank you to everybody, both of you. You've been lovely. I really appreciate what you guys did. And
Okay.
yeah, I'm very happy.
Okay, perfect.
You're
So
welcome.
congratulations, Vanshika, on your
Thank
Warwick
you.
offer and Lancaster offer and scholarship. Right? You have been a brilliant student with us. It's a two-way stream. It's not just that we would try to get you into top university. You should want to get, and as we just said, the ability to listen is what we actually look in many students, because if you listen, you will find the logic behind our words. You will actually follow what we are asking you, and we have the same intention of sending you to top universities, because then only I can hold a podcast with Warwick students, right? So what's the point of us attending? Because I want to do podcast with Warwick students, Boston or Harvard students only, right? So that is the entire point, and we are on the same side. It takes some time to build that trust. We are very glad that we were able to create that trust with you. And you have been a brilliant student. You have been one of our top performers. I think our gift also has reached you, right? So we have, facilitated every one of our students as well. And we hope to stay in connect, right? Because in Warwick, we have around 4 or 5 students that are going, and there are other students also around you that will be connected to you in the groups, right? So
Yeah.
we hope to stay in connect so that we build a community of high performing individuals, because when we send other students to Warwick or so, you guys will be the mentors for them. Right? So I hope we grow this community together. So congratulations again, Vanshika. Thank you
Thank
so much, Vijay,
you.
for joining in us. Right?
Thank you
And
so
thank you for
much.
agreeing to this. Okay, take care. Take care.
Bye.